Hi everyone, it's Chrissy. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today it is cold, it is rainy, and so I decided we needed French dip sandwiches, which are a big hit for at least the majority of the people in the house. So I'm going to be using my Deluxe multi-cooker, and this is an amazing machine. It will not only pressure cook, but it will also slow cook on 2 different settings. It will sterilize, and it does eggs and bread and yogurt, and it will also sous vide. So I'm not going to use the sous vide or any of the other functions today. All I'm going to be using today is the multi-cooker, the pressure cooker function here. So I'm going to get that started. There is a little on-off switch in the back, which I love because that means you can keep it plugged in if you want. If it does not have an on-off switch, I would not recommend keeping it plugged in. So once it's on, we're going to set it to sear to warm up the inner pot. So I'm going to take the lid off and just set it off to the side for the time being. And I'm going to turn the wheel to sear until I get there. There we go. And I'm just going to hold the button in. So that's going to get it started. And then I'm going to, as that's searing, I'm going to get some of the other things that I need ready. Okay, so this is getting heated up. The inner pot is getting heated. And I love this trick when I am using my pressure cooker to bring that inner pot on sear to a higher temp, because then it tends to cut down on the cooking time later. All right, I'm going to use my oil and vinegar bottle, and I love this because all I have to do is press on this button right here in the middle, and I can get a tablespoon of oil, which I'm going to put down into the bottom. And the great thing about this is that this top comes off to be washed, so you don't have to worry about having any rancid oil going into anything. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and then it's time to get my wine open. So I'm just using a red that I have in my inventory, and this is the electric wine bottle opener. The base is actually your foil cutter, so I'm just going to give it a squeeze and turn that around. Foil comes right off. And then this is the actual unit. So you're going to push it down. And I always forget, I have to say, I always forget. You're going to push the bottom button to make it come out. All right, so this has a little cord that it comes with. It plugs right in, and then you can actually open about 60 bottles of wine with this on one charge. So the button here on the front, push down to uncork it, push the top button to release the cork, and set it off to the side. All right, I'm gonna let that breathe just a minute because I'm gonna have some too, right? You don't wanna cook with any kind of wine that you wouldn't want to actually eat as well, or drink. So then I have about a 2.5 pound chuck roast here. It's boneless. I've already seasoned it with about a teaspoon of kosher salt and some pepper. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle some of our garlic and herb rub on top. So good. Okay, and then I'm going to transfer it to my pan. Let me see if my tongs are in here. Of course not. Okay, so the oil is heating up. I'm just gonna take this chuck roast with my tongs. These are my large chef's tongs, and I love these because they will really get up and underneath that meat. Hear that sizzle? That's what we want. So these will lock when they're in this position, and to unlock them, you just turn them upside down and give them a squeeze. Get this out of the way. I've got just a little bit more salt that I'm going to sprinkle over that. A little bit more of the garlic and herb rub. We definitely want to season both sides. And all I'm going to do right now, I'm just searing this on all sides to get a nice crust going. And I need some pepper as well. Gotta love the salt and pepper grinders. All right. So While that's going, I'm going to get my wine ready. And I love our wine aerator because I don't need to hold another thing or have a big stand in my kitchen. I just have one wine aerator and I'm good to go. So I'm going to pour this into my measuring cup. It's very large. I don't need this much. I'm only going to do a half a cup. Perfect. Dripping just a little bit. No worries. It smells so good. Okay. So next up, I need to slice up my onion. So let me show you that one next. I'm just going to move this out of the way for the time being and grab my onion. So I already cut it in half because this was a big one, and I took the skin off, and I'm going to use my Rapid Prep mandolin. I love this for exactly what it says, Rapid Prep. So it's going to come and store just like this. It is all dishwasher safe, and it also comes with one of our dual-ended cleaning brushes, which is actually the way I prefer to clean it because then it doesn't take up a ton of space in my dishwasher. So let me zoom you in so you can see the back. So this top part is going to give you a slice, a julienne, or more of a French fry cut. And then this is going to tell you on the dial which one is going to be the best for a thin cut French fry, a thicker cut French fry, and you just adjust the setting to how much you want. So for this, I'm going to set it on a 7, and I want it slicing. It has little feet on the bottom so that it won't shimmy around your countertop. So I love that. And this notch here is going to be what slides in and helps lock it into place. And then on top of all of that, the food hopper also nests inside. So you're going to push down on this little window to open it up. You hold the green button up and put that into place. It locks in, and then you don't have to worry about touching the blade at all. The blade is going to be completely housed in here. Your hand never has to go over it. So I just give it a twist to unlock. It has little pictures here to show you which way that works. And then I'm just going to slide these in. Even this is awfully big, but that's okay. And then you just go like that. Sometimes your slices wind up kind of all over your countertop. That's okay. Okay, all done. Easy peasy. And then, like I said, the whole thing is dishwasher safe. I'm going to pop this back here. And then I think this might be about time to move it. We'll see. So the tip with searing meat, if it won't move, it's not ready yet. Okay, so this is perfect. It's definitely moving for me. Yeah. Maybe one spot is not ready yet, so I'm going to let it sit just one tiny little bit there. So if your meat does not want to move, you have two things that might be happening. One, it may not be hot enough, so make sure you get a nice high, medium-high heat, especially if you're cooking on the stove. And two, just let it sit. Don't mess with it. If you give it a little pull and it moves away, then you're good. But if you pull on it and it seems to be stuck, don't worry about it. Just let it sit for a little bit longer. All right. So our onions are ready. I'm going to be putting this meat, when it's done, into one of our insulated bowls because I want to keep it kind of warm so it doesn't cool off too much. And I love these because if you're serving, of course, it's going to be a great thing to serve from. But I love the fact that it will keep my food hot for a long time You can also put ice in here too and use it as an ice bucket. All right, let me finish searing the rest of this. I'll come back and I'll show you what's next. So that's seared on all sides. I have it just resting here in my insulated bowl. I'm gonna set that off to the side, and I'm gonna add to this my onions. So it's still unseared. I've got some nice juices in there from the roast, and of course the olive oil has helped a little bit, and then there's some seasonings left in there. So that is gonna all meld together and really develop a nice flavor. So as these are browning up, we're just gonna saute these and get them nice and golden. They don't have to be perfectly cooked down because of course we're gonna be continuing to cook this under pressure, but we just wanna get those flavors building. So normally this would be a recipe that you would either could do in a slow cooker, or it would take a little bit longer, especially with this cut of meat, if you were to do it in the oven, for example. But because of the pressure cooker, I can cut that time dramatically in half. So up next, I just want to double check my recipe so I don't forget anything. We're just going to cook these down until they begin to soften. I am going to add just a little bit more of my garlic and herb because I love this seasoning so much. All of our herbs our herb seasoning mixes are gluten-free. And I just love the fact that there's several different seasonings in one mix. So instead of having to pull lots of different seasonings into a recipe, I can just grab one or two. All right, and they last for a really nice time. Oh, it smells so good. I wish that there was smell-o-vision. Okay, so I'm just gonna cook those down just a tiny bit more, and I'm getting a lot of kind of blackened bits in the bottom. You don't wanna worry about that. That's actually a good thing. That's called fond. So you can get that in a nice good stainless pan on the stove or in an enameled cast iron. But we can also get it here while we're searing in the multi-cooker. And that is just full of flavor. So don't be worried if as you're making this, you're seeing a lot of blackened bits in the bottom. Don't worry, we're gonna get them up here in a minute. And this will still be a total breeze to clean. While this is working, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Deluxe multi-cooker. I love the fact that my lid can rest on either side, so I don't have to try to find a place for it when I'm done cooking or while I'm waiting to cook. I love the fact that there's a custom setting, so if you want to do something from a recipe you found on Pinterest, for example, you can do that. There's the sear, and you can go low, medium, or high on the sear, which I also like. Our former pressure cooker did not have that option. You can do eggs in here. You can do your proteins in here. You can make your steel-cut oats in here, and they are amazing. I have the best steel-cut oats recipe. You can make your yogurt. You can sterilize if you need to sterilize some things in this. As I mentioned, you can sous vide. There are just so many different options with this one pot, and it really does help to make your job in the kitchen so much easier. So if you have questions about this, please let me know. And if you'd like to get it 60% off this month, November of 2022, my hosts can choose 2 items or sets in the entire catalog at 60% off. So that's a pretty good deal. All right, that is, which makes this just about $100. Okay, and we do have some sets with this where you can get additional accessories to go with it. All right, so I just poured in that red wine, which by the way, while I was off camera, I had to get some for myself. It's amazing. It's really good. All right, so as this is now starting to boil, you're going to use just a flat, this is my bamboo spatula. We have some bamboo spatulas and spoons. I highly recommend them. They're dishwasher safe. They're not gonna stain, or stain resistant at least, and they won't split or crack. And bamboo, as we all know, is a nice renewable resource. But this just works perfectly because as that liquid is boiling down and reducing a bit, this is the perfect way to clean off all those bits of fond, which then is going to add so much more flavor to your final product. So that's a little tip as well. If you're not making a sauce in cookware or in this pan, if you do have some bits that are stuck on there, and like I said, you're not making a sauce, add some water, let it come to a boil, scrape it with a bamboo spatula like this, and it'll come right up. Okay, so those onions are looking amazing. Smells so good. So to this, I am going to be adding, this is about reduced by half. We're getting there. I want to let it go just a little bit longer. And then we're going to add 14 ounces of beef broth. Now, I always use, by the way, if you can hear in the background, it's wrestling hour for my dogs every night, just like children. Okay, so I use Better Than Bouillon. It is my favorite product to use for anything that calls for a broth, because it comes in this jar. You can get it in larger sizes as well. You just keep it in the fridge and it lasts for a really long time, and the flavor is amazing, and you just add it to water. So what I do is I add the water in, add in about it's a teaspoon for every 8 ounces. I don't actually measure anymore. I just do it. This is boiling nicely. So I'm going to add in my broth, my water. And I'm going to give myself a good hefty spoonful of this. Scrape it off. And then this flavor is so amazing. Okay, so now the fun part. So we're going to take that chuck roast that we already seared. It's nice and warm still. I'm going to put it back down into the pot, just like that. There's a few juices in here. I don't want to let them go to waste. And I'm going to hit cancel on, that's just the X button, okay? And then I'm going to put this lid back on. It sings to you. And then I'm going to be putting this on. I need to find my time here. Beef and pork. So you just turn the dial to select the one that you want. I'm going to push the button in, but I need 100 minutes. So let's see if it will let me get that far. So then, once I'm there, okay, I'm just going to push and hold the button. When you hear it beep, it's going to start doing its thing. So that pot is nice and hot already. Once it comes to pressure, this red indicator button here is going to come up. I don't have to worry about the lid exploding and impaling itself in my ceiling, because it is locked and good to go. So when it's done, I'm going to come back and I'll show you how to finish off these French dip sandwiches. See you in a bit. So I have just a few minutes left on the meat, and now I'm going to get the sandwich rolls ready. So I have 3 of them here. This recipe will make enough for 6, but I don't think that we're going to be able to eat all of them tonight. So I'm just doing 3 sandwich rolls. They're just French bread rolls. I have a couple tablespoons of butter in a little prep bowl. These are also the same size bowls that I use for the juice that's in here, so that we can dip our sandwiches. And I'm just using our basting brush, and I love this because the top actually comes off and it's all dishwasher safe. I'm just going to do a little bit on the insides of these, and then also on the outside. And I'm going to toast this under the broiler for just a few minutes so that it will be so much better than just regular bread. This makes it almost like garlic bread for your French dip. So I'm just going to fold these up and brush the tops as well. And obviously you can do more butter if you want to. The first time I made this, I used way too much butter, but it was really good. But I just think A little less butter is okay for this because we have that juice too. So I don't want too much. And you can brush the insides here on these cut pieces. So good. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this into the broiler for just a couple minutes and I'll be back for the next. Hi everybody. Okay, so I let this cook for 100 minutes and then I let it sit for 25 minutes and naturally release. When you have a tougher cut of meat, that's the best way to go with a pressure cooker, is to just let it naturally release. And then I just hit the steam release button to let out any additional steam that might have been in there. All right, so moment of truth. Oh my goodness. Smells amazing. So here's my favorite other tip, is that I just use my salad choppers to shred this meat up. That way I don't have to take it out and mess with trying to drain it or anything else. I'm just going to use my ladle to scoop out any of the juice that I want into little prep bowls. And I've got my rolls here. So let me just shred this up. This is super easy. I'm going to show you how this comes together so fast and it's delicious. I wish you guys could be here to eat this with me. Okay, so that's all chopped and shredded up perfectly. These salad choppers have a lifetime guarantee and they're dishwasher safe. So I love that. All right, I'm just gonna open these up. Remember that I brush them on the inside and the outside with that yummy butter mixture. And then I'm just gonna grab my scoop and drain here so that I can scoop out some of this meat. Look at how perfect that is. The house smells amazing. Okay, so I'm just gonna scoop some of this out on one of these just so you can see. And then I'm gonna top it with some provolone, sliced provolone cheese. And then we're gonna pop it back under the broiler for just a few more minutes. So let me show you. Can you see that? Look at how amazing that looks. All right, I have to open my package. This is one area where I take a shortcut with cheese. You guys know I do not buy pre-grated cheese, but I have been known to buy pre-sliced. And especially for a busy night, this is the perfect way to go. So then this just goes back under the broiler for just a few more minutes until that cheese gets all melty and dinner is done. So let me know what you think. Would you make this recipe? Are you a French dip fan? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.